Hey, how's it going? Long day today. Long day working on a couple projects, but I figured it was time that I started recording, documenting some of it. As I usually do, I get frustrated with things and I just like try to get them done and don't bother recording. I got to stop doing that. Anyway, so if you saw the last video, I moved my office. I painted everything black. I left the ceiling white and the trim white just to keep it from being just like a black pit. But and it looks great, I think. The black looks great. I went with little black dress. It's like black with a tint of blue. It's really nice. Um anyway, so the lighting in here is terrible. My old office, I used to have the Nanoleaf skylight. Really nice light, really bright, very customizable. It used to make it possible to record just like whenever using the regular light. I mean, didn't look super awesome, but it was effective. Um, I didn't move them over here because I wanted to have a ceiling fan, and that ceiling fan has a built-in LED light. Like they basically don't make ceiling fans with that take light bulbs anymore. They're always like LEDs, and it's really, really harsh light. As you can tell, that's what I'm using right now versus setting up the whole. It's actually behind me here, the softbox. But So the black walls absorb like all the light. I want to add more lighting, um, just to like set a better mood, basically, like all the time. I've got some lighting behind this cabinet. Um, that helps a little bit, but it's basically limited to just this corner, the Eufy corner. So I wanted to add lighting in various other places. Like the fact that the walls are black, I think gives me liberty to add quite a few more lights than I normally would. Because like in a room where the walls reflect more light, it's pretty easy to cross over into tacky territory. But because the black absorbs so much light, I think I can get away with adding more. So today we're going to put some ambient lighting behind this television that's mounted on the wall. Um, it's the Govee. God, what is it called? Govee ambient lighting 3 light or something with the camera, and so like it matches what's going on in the picture. That's going to be cool. Um, on the other side here, a couple notes to make. In the last video, the X-Tool F1 Ultra station was against this wall. So I've been mulling this over for several months. I have an Anycubic M7 Max resin printer. I've been resin curious for a really long time. And a few months back, I'm several months at this point, uh, I picked one up. I was like, all right, I think I want to get moving on some resin printing and see what that's like. But it stayed in its box. It's still in the box actually, but it's been just like sitting around and I've been trying to figure out how I want to set that up. And so in this bigger office, the plan was to put it in this closet space. It used to be a closet space, now it's like a station. I had a cart with all of my miscellaneous like camera gear, and then the resin printer was in its box next to it. And the plan was to construct like an enclosure to keep it in there so it could be in the office and not like poison me to death. And the more I thought about it and thought about it, it seemed like a ton of work for potentially like introducing a bunch of toxins not only into my office but the rest of my house. Really, what changed everything was the Eufy Make E1. If you print with the doors open, it's really, really smelly. And with that printer, I very quickly get like a headache and I just like don't feel well. So I didn't want to go through all that effort to set up a resin printer within my office and have it just like annihilate me. So new plan, the F1 Ultra moved into that whole space and it actually fit like perfectly. So that was pretty good. Now what I'm going to do, and you may see I've already started, um, I'm going to put, let me preface with, my house is built from block. This is an exterior wall. So there's drywall, but then there's concrete behind it. I didn't want to drill a bunch of holes all over the place. It makes me uncomfortable to destroy the concrete that my house is made out of. So what I did was I took some 2x3s and I hung them up vertically with two anchors for concrete. So that way I only had to drill twice for each one. So 4 holes total. And what I'm going to do is same as with the stand for the F1 Ultra. I actually already did it. It's right over here. You can see some of it, but it's all black. So I don't know if it stands out at all from the rest of the room. But I cut out a panel, I guess, of 1/2 inch thick plywood, and I rounded over the edges and the corners, painted it black. It's the same little black dress, black paint. I learned my lesson. We weren't going to stain that one. Um, and what I'm going to do is now hang that on these 2x3s, uh, and then cover the whole thing up with Opengrid. In my other office, it's actually still there. I had multi-board on one wall, and I had all of my drones and miscellaneous cameras. All of that equipment was hanging on there, and I really liked it. But multi-grid uh, takes a really long time to print the grids. I had a really hard time setting it up. Like it needs to be really precise. It takes a long time to print each grid, and it uses a ton of filament. Since I did that, I discovered Opengrid. Opengrid takes less time, less filament. It's more simple, and it's like completely open source. So I'm giving that a shot. It's still taking a bunch of time to print. I've been running the printer like nonstop for probably approaching like 24 hours, maybe more. Printing these grids, they take almost exactly 2 hours to print each grid. It's 8x8, and I need something like 40 of them to cover this whole panel that is then going to go on this wall so I can hang up everything, cameras, attachments, cups, suction cups, all the different selfie sticks and whatnot, the drones. And hopefully it'll be big enough that I'll have some leftover space to bring over some of my backpacks and slings and stuff. I have a ton of bags. It'd be really great to be able to put them up on the wall here, have them ready to go, but also like kind of on display. Now, circling back to the whole lighting situation, of course, it's not gonna, help with this whole thing. I've got a soft box and light stands and stuff that when I want to put the effort forth, I can use that to adequately light everything. But what I'm doing now is before I permanently hang this panel on the wall, I'm putting some LED lighting behind it so that it'll bleed out from the edges, and I think it'll just make it a little bit less of a dark pit in here. Um, so that's what I'm working on now. Now you're totally caught up. All right, so here's a closer look. I have what is it, like 24 feet or something? I only needed 16, but I wanted to get this hung up because my office is in disarray. So I had to run to Walmart and get a 24-foot, I think it is, strip. I'm doing everything with Govee because I want it all to like collaborate together and hopefully work in unison with the TV Ambilight situation. So I haven't adhered this yet. I was just feeling it out. It goes around like 1.5 times uh, on the outside of these 2x3s. So it's time to peel off the backing, adhere it, and I may still go around and staple it down in a couple spots just to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, where's it going to go? It's going to be behind a panel. Um, but all right, that's the next step. And then take that panel, put it on the wall. All right, I got the lights placed and I got the panel up. Looks pretty good. I kind of wish I had made it a little less wide so there would have been more of a gap on the left-hand side like there is on the right to allow more light to bleed through, but it's done. I already did way too much work. So the last thing to do is to print like 30 more of these grids, and then I'm going to cover every square inch of this thing with Opengrid. And then the fun part begins, designing all of the different 3D mounts for designing all of the different 3D printable mounts for everything that's going to go on this wall. I mean, this is a big space. It's 40 43 inches wide, I think, by 75 inches tall, 43 inches wide. So, I mean, it's a big surface area to hopefully hang up like everything. It's going to look nice. But I don't want to start adhering these to the panel until I have enough to go all the way across and all the way down, just to make sure that they all get on there perfectly straight. So we're going to skip over to the ambient lighting. So we're going to open up the Govee ambient lighting 3 or whatever it's called. Set that up and probably take a break at that point. It's already 9:16 and I haven't had dinner yet. Uh, that'll probably be it. So let's get moving on that. Okay, this should be pretty straightforward. There isn't even that much in the package. So it's the Govee TV backlight 3 light. And I've got a roll of LEDs, the camera, like the processing unit, and the power and a USB-C cable, and then some calibration cubes. So this is what the back of the TV looks like. We're just gonna find a place for all of this stuff and then set it up, I guess. I mean, it should be really easy. Just the camera gets placed on the top there. Uh, find a place for the unit. There's one more open outlet here. So it should be really straightforward. Everything's up. I've got well, let's take a look real quick. I've got the TV backlighting up and it's working quite well, actually, better than I expected. Um, take into consideration the walls are black, so it's absorbing like the vast majority of the light. You're just getting a little bit of a hint around the TV. But it's a nice touch, honestly. I like it as the screen changes and the colors change, the lighting follows suit, and that's pretty cool, I think. Back behind the Eufy, there was pre-existing lighting all behind that cabinet. But given that the cabinet has to sit like a foot away from the back wall to accommodate the Eufy makes large print plate. That light doesn't really go anywhere, so it's like super subtle, but that was pre-existing. This was unplanned. I put a light, a diffusing light strip all the way around the baseboard. I was highly skeptical about doing that because I don't know if skeptical is the right word. I was reluctant to do that because my rule is I don't like direct lighting. I don't like to see the light source. I like to see the light indirectly, like ambiently. But it turned out all right, I think. It's just so dark in here that it's not a bad touch. It produces quite a bit of light. It's very Tron-like, one of my all-time favorite movies, including the new one, Tron Ares. Maybe I might even like that better than Tron Legacy. But anyway, it's Tron-like. I ended up liking it more than I was prepared for, I think. And then this is the grid, the panel I put up with ambient lighting behind it as well. You can see how we don't see any strong lighting. It's just bleeding out past it, which is exactly what I wanted. It's covered in Opengrid panels, 40 or 39 of them to be exact. I had one left over. I don't know if I miscounted or if I did one twice somehow. But anyway, it was like 40 panels, and then 4 of the hanging inserts per panel, and then a shitload of those little pins that go in between the panels. It was a huge pain, probably less than multi-board was relative to the scale, because the multi-board panel I did was like half that, maybe less. But I think it'll be cool. I haven't gotten around to putting anything on it yet. I don't have any like custom mounts yet. We're gonna have to do those, but the grid itself is done. Couple quick pointers on that. If you're doing it yourself, if your printer is not super dialed in, like mine's not, it's just like the default settings. I think that's why I had such a hard time with the pins and the inserts. If yours is super dialed in, maybe you can get away with doing it like the proper way. Otherwise, I would say don't even bother with the pins and just like hang them up freely. Just like really get that first one right, and then you can just line up your edges. Because I started out, I got probably a third of the way through by using the pins and pre-drilling pilot holes for each insert, each screw, and then going in and screwing it. And it was taking way too much time and effort. And it was stressing me out because the pins wouldn't go in all the way, and so there were gaps in between the tiles, and it was screwing up the alignment. So after like that initial headache, I just kind of got frustrated and just started hanging them up straight up, one at a time, and that ended up working out just fine, and it was quick and easy. So that's the route I would recommend, unless your stuff's really dialed in and everything just fits nicely together. I don't know. Moving on, there's our laser deck, the F1 Ultra with the stand that I built in the last video. I added a light bar above to illuminate the working area. There's also another light bar back here, but because this part of the wall sticks out when I'm standing pretty much anywhere except for like right in front of it, I'm not gonna see that light, which is the way I like things. It's just gonna add a little bit of indirect light, which is nice. That is a bit aggressive. That's not gonna stay that way. I'm gonna cut a thin panel to run in front of that light beam to block the actual light itself. So I'll just have the light bleeding down, and I think that'll make it a lot more ambient instead, because right now it's like super aggro. It's just like in your face. I don't like that. This trim lighting is more than enough of that. So I'll have to follow up when that's done. It's just going to be a simple panel, you know, maybe like 4 inches thick, that runs all the way across the length in front of that light. The only thing to mention still is that this was actually the original plan, the Govee strip light with the Skyline kit. I was going to run that along the back wall all the way down to just add some lighting up top and reflect it off the ceiling downward. But Amazon hit me with the buy one get one free deal. I think the Skyline kit was like 90 bucks, and this uh, floor trim lighting set was also like 90 bucks. So I was already going to buy the Skyline kit, and they hit me with that special, so I picked that up for free, or however you want to look at it, 45 a piece, which is a huge discount relative to their regular pricing. And I ended up putting this up first. And so now I don't know if I'm going to do the Skyline kit. If I am, I think it's probably going to be along the front wall here, to just reflect some light off the ceiling and illuminate that half a little bit more, because all the lighting is concentrated to the left side here. So yeah, that's about it. I'm pretty happy with it. I think this is coming together. I still need to get some decorations done with the laser and the UV. That was the plan, try to do some decorative pieces. All of the lights in the room are Govee, and they're all synchronized to the TV backlighting. So as the picture changes, the different areas of the screen are mapped to the other lights, and they're changing accordingly. And I'll be the first to admit that on paper it sounds kind of cheesy, like a gimmicky, like, tacky light light show kind of situation, but in practice it's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a nice touch. It's, especially when you do it in like the indirect way, the way that I prefer to do it. It's not that in your face. Um, it's pretty cool. I recommend it. But yeah, that's about it. We're gonna wrap this one up. I got another project that I'm working on that I need to start wrapping up as well. That was a direct result of this damn Opengrid project. So see you soon. Keep it real. Thanks.